Hi, vinyl community. My name is Richard and I'm from the Netherlands. And through this quick video I would like to introduce myself to you, the vinyl community. I am 34 years old. I live in the Netherlands and I'm a vinyl lover. I love vinyl. What else can I say about it? It's like you, all of you, who also like vinyl and would like to share your records with the rest of the vinyl community. So the last couple of weeks I have been watching videos from YouTube and I have seen wonderful collections of records. Some of them I'm quite jealous of. So I was thinking maybe, it's about time to introduce myself as well and to mingle in all the conversations about vinyl. I don't have a really large collection of vinyl because I just started collecting, basically. Just started. I mean, I have been involved in vinyl for, a big part of my life, but somewhere in, when I was younger, I started to switch to CDs. I'm 34 years old, so as you can imagine that in the 80s, when I was just a kid, vinyl was common. I mean, everyone had vinyl in their house, and maybe just a couple of CDs, because it wasn't really until the second part of the 80s that the CDs really, started to get big, started their revolution. So everyone at that time had vinyl. Vinyl, of course, at that time was a lot, cheaper than CDs. For example, you could buy a new vinyl record from a popular group for around 15 to 20 bucks, while CDs at that time were more like 40 bucks. These days, it's the other way around. Now you pay just maybe 20 bucks, maybe 15 to 20 bucks for a CD, and 30 bucks for a record. Anyway, so when I was just a little kid, I always loved rock and roll music, old music, like from the 50s and 60s. I really grew up with that. My father was a big Elvis Presley fan, and he always told me the story that whenever I was a kid, just a baby, and I would be crying, he would put up a Elvis Presley record, and then I would stop crying. The first record I probably as a baby got introduced to was this one. This is Elvis Sings for Children and Grown-Ups Too, and this was an RCA record of Elvis Presley, which was released in 1978, which was my birth year. Anyway, the song, or the record is just basically it's a collection of movie songs from different kind of movies Elvis Presley starred in, and these would be songs he would play or sing for children in the movie. And they, made a compilation album. In this case, it's a gatefold record with all the lyrics inside of it, and they called this record Elvis Sings for Children. The first one I ever listened to. Anyway, I still have it in my collection, by the way. This is the original one that's always been in my collection. And I think when I was about 10 years old, my father gave me a stereo set for my birthday, and that was a a set with a turntable and with a cassette deck, and there was also a CD player in it. But CDs were so expensive, so that when I was just a little kid, I would buy records instead of CDs. The first record I ever bought was an Elvis Presley record, because I was just, a big Elvis Presley fan at that time. I basically only liked Elvis Presley and some other rock and roll music. And I think that the first one I ever bought is this one. It's a Camden release. Camden was the budget label of RCA, and they released like compilation albums most of the time. All records were just, movie songs most of the time. This one actually pretty good, track listening. Anyway, I bought this most probably because of the sleeve. I mean, when I was a kid of 10 years old, I looked at the sleeves first, and then to the content. And this obviously this is a great picture of Elvis Presley. This is from his movie Flaming Star, and it worked like that in those days. I would look at the sleeve, and if the sleeve looked good, I would buy the record if I could pay for it. Another one of that same period I bought was this one. I love the picture because I was a big fan of Elvis Presley from Aloha as a kid. My father had a videotape. I clearly remember it was a blue sleeve with a drawing of Elvis Presley on it. And that videotape costed about 100 bucks. Imagine that, 100 bucks for a videotape. Well, these days you can buy the DVD with all that remastered sound and the beautiful picture quality for just 20 bucks. Anyway, this was one of the first records I bought for my own pocket money when I was just a little kid. Really good shape. I mean, imagine I was just a little kid, I wasn't as careful as I am today. It still is in a good condition. Anyway, when I got a little older, in my teens, I started to like hard rock music. Hard rock music, like Iron Maiden and Judas Priest, and more like traditional heavy metal. Because a friend of mine introduced me to Iron Maiden through the CD Power Slave. Whenever I heard that one, I became a huge Iron Maiden fan. Immediately bought every CD Iron Maiden had released so far. And then in 2003, when they released their second record after the return of Bruce Dickinson as the lead vocalist of Iron Maiden, they released this CD called Dance of Death. And of course, it was like I was already waiting in front of the store until it opened so that I could be the first one to buy that one. And I went into the CD store to buy Dance of Death, and to my big surprise, I bumped into this one. And I was thinking, huh? Do they still make records? I mean, like vinyl records? So after many years of listening to CDs and that kind of stuff, I suddenly was reintroduced into vinyl again through this record. So as a big Iron Maiden fan, I immediately bought this one and brought it home with me while I haven't got a record player anymore. So I bought a vinyl record, but I didn't have a turntable. A couple of weeks later, I bumped into this one, also a great vinyl record of Iron Maiden. This is Edward the Great, which is a compilation record. And when I found this one, and I bought it immediately, this one cost me to buy a turntable again, because what use would my vinyl records have if I don't have a record player? I am not the kind of guy who will buy vinyl and keep it in their seal. I want to play it. I want to hear it. So I bought a record player so that I could play these ones. And I remember that for the first time I put the needle on the vinyl, I was thinking, whoa, you know, that nostalgic feeling of, you know, like for a moment it felt like the time had stood still. So it awakened my love for vinyl a little. So I just started to, you know, take all my older records out of the boxes and started to listen to those as well. So these two records, they started my passion for vinyl, but not really a big passion. I just started to buy vinyl just once in a while. Alright. So it wasn't until last year that I really started to feel a bigger passion for vinyl than I had before through Elvis Presley records, because slowly but surely I'm starting to fall back into my old passion for rock and roll music and Elvis Presley. So I started to buy Elvis Presley records again. And, yeah. Well, anyway, a couple of years ago, when I went to a market, like a market, you know, I stumbled upon a guy with a lot of records, and I looked through it, and I bought a couple of hard rock records just because they looked good. And one of the records in that stash of records was this famous record, Slip of the Tongue from Whitesnake. And this one, you know, really introduced me to the music of Whitesnake, and it didn't take long before I got the whole CD collection of Whitesnake. Anyway, it's not what I want to talk about, because one of the other records I bought in that same finding was this one, Def Leppard's Hysteria. And when I heard this one for the first time, it was actually 2 weeks ago when I heard this for the first time, because I bought it, but I never listened to it up until 2 weeks ago. I was really stunned. I was thinking, whoa, this is great music, and I never heard it before. So when I was looking on the internet to some background information about this, it appeared to be that this was a real classic album, that this is really a big one. And I never heard it before, but I think it's so great, so fantastic, well done, that I was thinking I want to, buy more Def Leppard records. And so yesterday I went out to a record store. This is where I want to conclude my video, my introduction, with the last record I bought so far. So yesterday I went to a record store to see if I could find more Def Leppard records, but unfortunately I could find only one, and of course I bought it, and it's this one. So this one is Pyromania from 1983, and this also is a Japanese pressing. You can still see the obi here, and yeah, I listened to it yesterday, and it's a great record as well. It's different than Hysteria, but it's a great hard rock record. So so now I'm decided to buy all the Def Leppard records as well, so that is going to be my search for the next couple of months. Anyway, with the last record I have bought so far, I would like to conclude my video. I hope you liked my video, and it just showed a couple of things, to introduce myself. But remember that it are your videos which inspires me to buy more vinyl. And also what I like about this vinyl community is that it enables me to learn more about other genres of music and other kind of records. And sometimes when some of you talk about a certain record, I find it so interesting that I want to look out for that record myself. And so I really learn a lot of stuff from the vinyl community on YouTube, and I hope I can add something to this vinyl community as well. So far my video, I have tried to keep it a little short. I've tried to video one before, but it was over 20 minutes, and I don't want to make a video as long as that. So I hope you liked it. At least I do like your videos, and I'm certainly intending to record more videos to talk a little more about my vinyl records. And in the meantime, enjoy your videos as well. See you in the next video.